Right now,
Today
50.
we'll tackle tough times in
The
California.
economic troubles facing San Diego will be the focus of Mayor Jerry Sanders' annual State of the City
reports a 60% hike in rapes where either one or both people.
Process. UCLA researchers tracked the progress of 50 sarcoma patients using
From the KPBS studios, this is San Diego Week.
Hello, I'm Joanne Ferry, and thanks for joining us. Tonight marks the final episode of San Diego Week. On Monday night at 6:30, KPBS will premiere a new nightly news program, Evening Edition. I'll tell you more about what you can expect from us later in the program. First, we take a look back at some of the stories we've covered over the past year. In the next half hour, we'll introduce you to San Diegans doing fascinating research. Educators at Lincoln High School going beyond the call of duty to make sure kids get to school, and a pest endangering San Diego's oak trees. We begin with one of our most popular stories from the year, a story about brains. Would you believe there is something called a brain observatory? It's located at the UCSD Medical School, and the school is hoping to convince 1,000 more San Diegans to donate their brains to research. KPBS health reporter Kenny Goldberg says the goal of the project is to digitize the brains and share the images with researchers all over the world.
Some people collect stamps, old coins, or works of art. Jacopo Anese collects brains.
So here we have a refrigerator, and it contains the brains of our participants. And it's now these are individuals who have willed, when they were in life, they willed their brains to research.
Jacopo Anese is the director of UCSD's Brain Observatory. We're inside his laboratory, where people's brains are transformed into bits of information.
And I wanted to be able to process the brain in one piece. We collect the brain and we store it here. And then the brain undergoes a very long processing that results in the final images. Because what we do here is actually we virtualize the actual human brain, and it becomes a collection of images at different levels of resolution and images created with different modalities.
The first step in the process is to obtain a brain right after a person dies. It's placed in a chemical solution and put in the cooler for about 8 weeks.
And this is where we actually physically slice the brains.
Then it has to be sliced up by a machine called a microtome.
The brain sits here on the stage, and everything is kept frozen by these industrial chillers. You know, we generally cut at an interval of 70 microns, which is 70 thousandths of a millimeter. So it's hair thin. So you have typically between 2,500 and 3,000 slices for one brain. So this is one of the slices from the brain.
The slices are placed on a glass slide, stained and digitally photographed. The images are so data-rich, it would take 148,000 DVDs to store all of them for just one brain.
See, this is a blood vessel here.
What researchers can do with the information is truly amazing.
Thanks to the digitization, we can actually explore this particular section of the brain down to the level of the single cell. So just like Google Earth, when from the main image of a region you can zoom in and look at a single house, we're able to look at individual brain cells.
By having the entire brain digitized at this resolution, researchers may be able to detect subtle differences in how the brain is affected by different diseases. That appeals to Clinton Spangler. He's 83 years old, and he's planning to donate his brain to the observatory. Spangler suffers from a nerve disorder called essential tremor. He hopes scientists can find something in his brain that could help other people who share his affliction.
I think it's much better if it's put to some use for humanity rather than just being put in the ground.
Patrice Locke's mother, Peggy, passed away last October. Peggy's brain is now being digitized. Locke says her mom had some special qualities.
That you always have with you. Her soul, if you will, is now departed. Her physical self is a completely separate entity, and the fact that that can be used for some good, I think is wonderful.
The observatory doesn't just digitize people's brains. Staff also work with family members to store the life history of the donors. Jacopo Aneses says that information might become useful someday.
And now, who will be looking at your brain in 20 years? And could be a doctor, could be a neurologist, could be a student, could be an artist who wants to learn how to draw brain cells, or could be the next Michael Crichton who wants to write a thriller about the brain.
However it's used, Renee Farley is glad her older sister Diane's brain is at the observatory. She died after suffering from early onset Alzheimer's disease. Farley says, in a sense, Diane is still around.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, that's what made it, such a thrill for us, is that she does live on. Her story's being told, and hopefully people will learn from her, and she's still here watching us.
Kenny Goldberg, KPBS News.
The invisible wounds sustained in the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan can be more difficult to deal with than the visible injuries. KPBS reporter Allison St. John tells us about new research at UC San Diego and the VA Medical Center. It's finding ways to measure the physical evidence of a signature injury of the war, traumatic brain injury.
Here you go. Ready?
Colonel G.I. Wilson and his daughter Kendra love to play with their dogs in the backyard. Wilson, who is 64 and has now retired from the Marine Corps, deployed numerous times. But after his last deployment to Iraq in 2005, Kendra noticed he was changed.
His last tour over there, when he came back, that was the first time that I ever actually noticed a significant difference in his personality, the way he was acting. Just even driving down the freeway, I was like, okay. Plus, there was the medical aspect of that was the first time I had ever been told that he had actually been hit by an IED and there was significant damage.
I thought everybody was reacting differently. The dog reacted differently, and my daughter reacted differently, and my wife reacted differently, and I thought it was them, and of course it was me, not them.
We would have a discussion, and 10 minutes later he would ask me a question about what we had just discussed. I'm like, Dad, we just talked about that.
Wilson found he was having trouble processing information, remembering things, and finding words. His normally outgoing personality changed. He was withdrawn and depressed. When his dog died in 2009, that's 3 years after he came back from Iraq, it triggered a major breakdown.
I knew from his, from his rank and his past experience that he'd done very high-level work. He'd written long treatises or papers, and he was telling me he was having difficulty doing that kind of work, exactly the same kind of work after the blast injury.
Most people diagnosed with mild traumatic brain injury, or TBI, recover in a matter of months. Baker says there were no tests or brain scans to provide objective evidence of more lasting damage to the brain.
So you were just left a little in the dark, as was the patient. So I needed some help to find some kind of, have an objective measure of whether this had whether they had TBI.
And let me open up the door.
Enter Dr. Mingjong Huang. Using a magnetoencephalographic, or MEG, brain scanner, one of only 20 in the country, Dr. Huang zeroes in on slow waves emitted by cells in the brain.
Keep your eyes closed for 5 minutes and open up for another 5 minutes. It's frustrating, and when the conventional neuroimaging do not provide the location of injury and the network associated with the injury. So that actually motivated us, me in particular, develop new technology based on MEG slow wave measurements to make the invisible injury visible.
Normal MRI brain scans only pick up the symptoms of mild traumatic brain injury about 10% of the time, whereas this scanner, which is a MEG brain scanner, picks up those symptoms in the brain more like 90% of the time.
And there's something over here.
For the first time, Wilson had physical evidence that what he was experiencing had a physiological cause. Dr. Baker says the MEG brain scans may eventually be able to help her diagnose whether patients are suffering from symptoms of PTSD or TBI, which respond to different kinds of treatment.
One thing, it can track people who are getting different kinds of treatments and look at the resolution through objective scan evidence. So you can begin to more carefully compare the outcomes of treatments that might be brought in that are new treatments to help with mild TBI.
And for Wilson and his family, it was a huge relief to get a confirmation of his physical injury.
even though we knew it in our minds and our hearts, it was kind of like the concrete that it's not us. Like, he's not reacting like this because he's mad at us or his feelings have changed in any way, shape, or form. Like, there's an actual physical cause that's making this happen. And that makes it a little easier to deal with.
I'm very, very fortunate because I can see it. They're able to demonstrate what happened to me, even though it basically is an invisible injury. You know, what about all those people out there today that, you know, the soldiers, sailors, Marine, and airmen who have this injury, don't know it, no one's seen it. The research at the university is done with the VA is very, very important in getting to that problem. The invisible injury is not so invisible.
For Colonel Wilson, the Meg brain scans have made all the difference to his ability to recover and slowly learn how to get back to the life he wants to lead.
Earlier this year, we told you the story of a school in southeast San Diego that was rebuilt 4 years ago. It's one of the most expensive campuses in the county, built in one of the poorest neighborhoods. The community had high hopes for the new school and what it would do for their children. It was supposed to be a beacon of hope for the community and a route to college for students.
You know, the expectations were great from the community because the previous superintendent had convinced everyone that Lincoln High School needed to rise like a phoenix.
Minutes from a school board meeting back in 2001 show a lot was expected from Lincoln, a rigorous academic program so that all students were prepared for a four-year college.
See, because you're not taking this seriously.
I'm taking it seriously.
Well, what guy? Come on, man. You know what I'm saying?
Mel Collins is the school's head principal. When he was hired 5 years ago, he was told by the superintendent that by 2011, 85% of graduating students were expected to complete a four-year college entry curriculum.
They wanted safety, and they wanted A through G curriculum, and they want highly trained and skilled teachers, and they wanted, and they wanted, and they wanted. And they said all of these things would come together, and promises were made. Of course, you know, how can you say no to a community that had been denied, you know, for so many years?
Three months before that four-year deadline, Lincoln is far from achieving that goal. Last year, just 16% of the graduating class had the required courses to apply for college. Compare that to another new high school less than 20 miles north in an upper-middle-class suburb. At Westview High, a school centered between Rancho Penasquitos and Carmel Valley, 78% of graduates were college-ready last year. What a difference 20 miles can make. At Westview, 8% of the students live at or around the poverty line. At Lincoln, it's more than 80%.
De que me sentía protegida, pues.
Angeles Morales and her two daughters live out of one bedroom in a shared apartment about a mile from Lincoln. When her 10th grade daughter Jasmine wasn't showing up at school and failing nearly every subject, the school sent administrator Martha Corrales to find out why. Corrales translates.
Because sometimes there's nothing to eat. Sometimes there's problems. Because there's a lot of people here. 10 people live here, and it's 3 bedrooms.
The weekend before Corrales' home visit, the family had no food. Corrales and Principal Mel Collins bought groceries for the family and are helping them access community resources. And since that home visit, Jasmine is attending school and getting B's instead of F's. But with more than 2,000 students enrolled and one of the lowest attendance rates in the district, the task of getting students to school one kid at a time can be daunting.
Getting them here and then keeping them going, you know? And it's like teenagers move so slow all the time.
Before being hired as an administrator at Lincoln High, Martha Corrales worked for the San Diego Unified School District. Her binder of the minutes from old school board meetings is a reminder of the promises made to the community about what a new school would do for them and their children. Promises she made too.
I think about this all the time. I feel very sad. I said, because I did all the outreach. So this here I preached at many community meetings. This that is in here, I shared with many parents. And when many parents came to me with concerns about, but is it going to be quality education? I said, yes, it will. And yes, it will. And it's not that we don't have the quality education, it's that our students, many of our students are not prepared for that quality education.
There's an environmental killer in San Diego County. Its prey, oak trees. KPBS environment reporter Ed Joyce takes us to Cuyamaca Rancho State Park, where the gold-spotted oak borer has already wiped out hundreds of trees.
I'm sitting on a 200-year-old coast live oak, now dead, killed by a pernicious beetle called the gold-spotted oak borer. It's not the only dead tree nearby. Biologists refer to this collection of dead oaks as the boneyard. These aren't the last trees to fall victim to the beetle. At risk, hundreds of thousands of iconic coast live oak trees from San Diego County to Oregon.
This is typical of a lot of the injury that you'll see in the area, these very large diameter coast live oak, which is its favored host.
Entomologist Tom Coleman says the beetles have a voracious appetite for the oldest and tallest oaks.
When the beetle initially will move into some of these stands, this is what it's going to attack first, and it'll slowly move from this larger size class to the smaller size class.
Coleman says the beetles choke the tree, keeping nutrients from getting to its roots.
What really killed this tree, it's the larval feeding, and you can see this on the kind of wood surface here, all this kind of scribbly lines, this meandering feeding pattern. So basically what the beetle does is almost girdle the tree, and you'd get the same effect if you were to come up to the tree with an axe or a hatchet and just take all the bark off.
He says the mature gold-spotted oak borer beetles lie dormant in the winter, waiting for warm weather. In spring, the adults do minor feeding on the trees and lay their eggs that, over time, kill the trees. Coleman says it's these tiny offspring which cause the big problems.
The larvae are really the damaging agent that are killing the trees. It's not the adults, it's the damage from the larval feeding that girdle the tree and cause the mortality.
Damage to the base or main stem of the coast live oaks is what tipped Coleman and others to the beetle's presence.
So much that the bark will just kind of slough off like this.
The crown or tops of the trees is another sign. It takes several years for the trees to die. Dozens of trees have been killed here at the Green Valley Campground alone. Park-wide, the numbers are in the hundreds.
All the large trees in this picnic area have died. Most of them in the last 5 years. Most of them before we even knew that there was a problem. These trees already had the beetle and had begun their progression towards death.
And these trees behind us are going to likely meet the same fate?
If you look at the trees behind us, you can...
Thomas Scott with UC Riverside says the gold-spotted oak borer is not native to San Diego County. How the invasive species got here isn't clear. The best guess is the oak borer hitched a ride in a load of firewood brought to the county from Arizona. Scott and others have been meeting with communities throughout San Diego and other nearby counties, warning about the potential dangers lurking in firewood.
Is that if you buy firewood that's green, or you transport firewood that's green to the area where you live and you have oak trees, chances are in a year or two you're going to start to see your oak trees thin. And then you're going to start to see the kind of decline that we have in the scene behind me right now.
The coast live oak is a hardy tree, but Scott says it doesn't have a natural defense for the gold-spotted oak borer.
And it's a striking thing to see a tree that can go through catastrophic fires, droughts, and have survived for 200 years in this unpredictable climate to be waylaid by a beetle that's less than a centimeter long.
Scott says researchers are studying ways to control the beetle, but for now, there's no way to eradicate the pest, and the potential for widespread devastation is real.
The line in the sand right now is urban Los Angeles. If we don't stop this beetle and it makes that jump across Los Angeles, it won't stop until it gets to Oregon.
San Diego is a proving ground for new consumer models of electric cars. Utility officials expect there to be 2,000 electric-only vehicles on San Diego roadways by December of this year. KPBS reporter Eric Anderson says the arrival of the gas-free cars couldn't have come at a better time, at least for some.
When Joe DeCamp pulls his $33,000 all-electric Nissan Leaf into his Carlsbad garage, he's basically pulling into a filling station. On the wall is a new electric vehicle charging unit, a distant cousin of the gas pump. The $1,200 unit delivers a 220-volt charge to the car's batteries.
Okay, so this is a 100% electric engine. Very, very different from a traditional internal combustion engine. All electric, there's no transmission. There's basically a 80 kilowatt AC synchronous motor down there.
His wife still drives a gas-powered car, but DeCamp hasn't stopped at a gasoline filling station since his electric car was delivered several weeks ago. In fact, he grins when he drives by and sees the high prices.
I was spending $74 a week to fill my SUV up every single week. So that's $290 a month for just gas, just fuel.
DeCamp figures he's paying a bit more than $17 for the electricity to do the same amount of driving. He knows that because his computer connects wirelessly to the car.
You can track very detailed your usage. This is pulled up for one day, the 29th of April. I traveled 39 miles. That's a typical daily commute for me. 4.3 miles per kilowatt hour. Electrical consumption, 9.2 kilowatts, travel time about an hour.
The car has a trove of new technology, including a smartphone app that can control air conditioning, charging, and other functions remotely. The Leaf looks and drives like a gas-powered car, but it can't go as far. DeCamp's car has a range of about 80 miles. That's enough for his commute, but that's not enough for everyone. Joseph Gottlieb works at an Escondido company that makes batteries for all sorts of electric vehicles. He acknowledges that range anxiety is a major obstacle for some.
A lot of people believe in this country you can drive anywhere you want at any time. If I want to load in my car, I can drive to Vegas, I can drive from here to Florida. I've got that freedom. And so they feel that when you've got something that's going to limit your range, it's taking away some freedom of yours.
Changing expectations and better batteries are the solution. He says lithium batteries tucked under the passenger compartment allow the Leaf to look just like a regular car.
So running up underneath, all along to the back side of the car is where the lithium batteries reside in this vehicle.
And unlike the Nissan Leaf, the batteries in this older vehicle are sitting on top of the electric motor. They're golf cart batteries, and as you can see, there are several of them there, and also more right here. 24, in fact, and they weigh 2,400 pounds.
The Nissan Leaf wouldn't be possible without lithium battery technology.
Better batteries with longer driving ranges may convince even more consumers to buy electric. It's a prospect that both excites and worries San Diego Gas and Electric's Jim Avery.
Virtually every large automobile manufacturing has announced that they're coming out with an electric vehicle in the next several years.
200 electric-only cars are already in San Diego, and Avery expects 10 times as many to be on the road by the end of the year. That quick growth brings challenges.
In reality, every single car that comes in is about the equivalent of 3/4 of a new home. So we have to plan for the charging infrastructure just like we plan for the addition of a new home in our system. The infrastructure has to be there, and we have to have the energy to provide you to charge your car.
SDG&E is experimenting with very low power rates if drivers charge their cars between midnight and 5 a.m. That would put virtually no impact on the local power grid. But the stakes are high. If significant numbers of electric car owners tap into the electric grid during peak hours in the middle of the day, that could force SDG&E to pay for potentially billions of dollars in infrastructure upgrades.
As I mentioned earlier, this is the final broadcast of San Diego Week. KPBS is expanding its news coverage in San Diego. Beginning Monday, a news show called KPBS Evening Edition will air weeknights at 6:30. The show will bring you the day's top stories, but the emphasis will be on digging deeper into the issues. We'll tell you what happened, but we'll also explore why it happened and what it means to you and your everyday life. You'll see many of the reporters you often hear on KPBS radio, and you'll also meet San Diego's newsmakers, the people you elected into office. Business leaders and researchers, those who make decisions every day that affect our community. I'll be asking them questions, but you'll get a chance to. Every night at the end of the show, we'll host a public square. Through email, Facebook, Twitter, even old-fashioned letters, you'll have a chance to tell us what you think and also the questions you want asked. So I'm inviting you now to join me and my co-host Dwayne Brown every night at 6:30 for KPBS Evening Edition. We can't wait to get started. On behalf of all of us here at KPBS, thanks for watching. Good night.